Long before maps were finished and before fear learned to disguise itself as wisdom, there lived a dragon named Aurelian. He did not live on a mountain of gold, nor did he sleep inside a cave filled with bones, as stories often claimed. Aurelian lived high above the clouds, on a floating ridge of stone where the wind sang endlessly and the sky felt close enough to touch. From there, he watched the world, not with hunger but with curiosity. Aurelian was ancient, older than kingdoms, older than the languages humans used to name him. His scales were the color of deep bronze, catching sunlight in a way that made them glow like quiet fire. His wings were vast, scarred by time, yet powerful enough to stir storms when he flew. And his eyes were not cruel. They were thoughtful. That, perhaps, was the reason humans feared him most. The first choice. When Aurelian was young, he had been like the others of his kind, distant, proud, uninterested in human affairs. Dragons did not need humans. Humans needed dragons, usually to fight them. But everything changed the night he heard a child crying. It was faint, almost lost beneath the sound of rain, but dragons hear what they choose to hear. Aurelian followed the sound down from the sky to a small village at the edge of a dying forest. Fire had torn through the wooden homes, leaving smoke, ash, and silence behind. Except for the child. She was trapped beneath a fallen beam, her small hands bloody as she tried to push it away. No one came. Everyone else had already fled or perished. Aurelian could have turned away. Instead, he lowered his massive head and gently lifted the beam with one claw, careful not to scratch her skin. The child stopped crying. She stared at him, wide-eyed, not with terror, but wonder. "Are you here to eat me?" she whispered. Aurelian had never spoken to a human before. His voice, when it came, was deep and slow, like thunder learning to be gentle. "No," he said, "I am here to help you." That night, Aurelian carried the child to safety. And that single act, small in the scale of the world, changed the course of history. The Dragon of Quiet Deeds. Word spread quickly, as it always does, but not as truth. Stories twisted. Some said the dragon stole children. Others claimed he demanded sacrifices. Fear grew faster than facts. Yet Aurelian continued to help. When rivers flooded villages, he carved new channels through stone with controlled fire. When winters grew too harsh, he warmed fields just enough for crops to survive. When plagues struck, he burned infected areas so sickness would not spread. He never asked for thanks. He never stayed long enough to be praised. And still, humans sharpened their swords. The king who wanted a hero. In the stone city of Valemor, King Aldric watched his people starve. Crops failed. Trade routes collapsed. Fear ruled more strongly than any crown. The advisors spoke with urgency. "The dragon must be slain," one said. "He is the source of imbalance," said another. "Kill him, and the world will return to order." The king listened. And so he called for a hero. Many volunteered. Knights seeking glory, soldiers seeking gold, men seeking a name. Among them was a young woman named Alira, a healer's daughter who carried no sword, only knowledge and questions. She did not believe the stories. But she believed in truth. Meeting the dragon, Alira traveled alone. No banners, no army, only a pack of supplies and a steady heart. When she reached the floating ridge, the air felt heavy with silence. Aurelian was waiting. He had sensed her long before she arrived. "You are not afraid," he said. "I am," Alira replied honestly. "But fear is not the same as hatred." They talked. For hours. Then days. She listened as Aurelian spoke of centuries spent watching humans repeat the same mistakes, destroying, rebuilding, forgetting. He spoke of choosing help over dominance, of patience over power. And Alira saw something no one else had bothered to see. A protector. The war that never happened. When Alira returned to Valemor, she spoke before the king and his court. "The dragon is not our enemy," she said. "He is the reason we have survived this long." They laughed. They doubted. They threatened. Then the drought broke. Rain fell, not violently, but steadily. Fields recovered. Rivers returned to their paths. Trade resumed. No dragon appeared. No fire in the sky. Only results. Slowly, belief replaced fear. A new understanding. Years passed. Humans stopped hunting dragons. Not because dragons demanded it, but because they learned. Aurelian became a legend told differently now. Not as a monster, but as a guardian. Children learned his name alongside lessons of kindness and courage. And though he still lived above the clouds, Aurelian no longer watched alone. Sometimes, when the wind was just right, villagers would look up and see a shadow pass gently over the land, not